Listen, here's the truth. If you're a business owner trying to implement AI into your business, it's hard to keep track of everything that's coming out, especially when half of it is garbage or not relevant to your business at all. Now, Anthropic recently released something that you do want to pay attention to, and that's the Model Context Protocol. Now, there are already tons of videos out on what the MCP is and why it's important, so I'm going to skip all that. But a one-line summary for why you should pay attention to this is that it will make implementing AI tools in your business way easier. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you the easiest way to host an N8N server and start implementing MCP into your business. And at the very end, I will show you a real-life use case scenario on how you can use MCP agents to cross-sell or upsell to your existing clients. Now I'm going to first start by showing you exactly how you can host N8N on a server. There are multiple reasons for why you want to do this. In our case, it's so you can access the MCP node. But let's say you have other workflows that require a lot of operations, then hosting it on a server will be much cheaper than actually using the cloud version. We're going to be using railway.com. And in order to actually get logged into Railway, you need to make a GitHub account. So GitHub is basically a platform where you can manage and share code. And so all you need to do is sign up here, enter your email and password. Now, once you create a GitHub account, you're going to go back to Railway and sign in here and connect directly. Once you're all set up, you want to go to new project and you're going to land on this page here. You're going to go here to the left and deploy a template. We're going to run N8N with workers and you can see all the stuff that's going to be deployed. You just hit deploy and now it's going to create this environment. This part is going to take a bit, but you'll land on this page, applying 95 changes. After everything's done loading, it'll land on something like this. This is an instance I ran earlier today. But from this point on, you'll pretty much click primary, and then you'll hit this link right here. So when you first load in, it's going to prompt you to sign in and ask you a bunch of onboarding questions. That'll take 2 seconds. But once you get into the actual platform, you want to go down here into settings, into community nodes. So right here. Now this is where you would actually need to install this community node for the N8N MCP. So if you go to this GitHub repository by nerding.io, which I will link in the description below, all you need to do is just grab this and paste it back in your N8N. So you can see I already downloaded here, but typically you would just hit install, paste it into here, hit I understand, and click install, and that's it. Now there's one more thing we need to do. Because we're using MCP agents, we need to allow the agent to use these MCP tools. Now coming back to this same GitHub page, we're going to go all the way down. And you can see right here, we need to copy this line of code. So we're going to copy it. I'm going to go back to our Railway. Now that we're back in Railway, we're going to go to our primary node here, hit variables, go to raw editor, and scroll all the way down. And at the very bottom, I want you to paste that in. Now I already have this line of code here, so you can see that's what it would look like. Just remove all this stuff and hit update variables. Now heading back to N8N, everything is ready to start using MCP servers. Now this is a basic workflow that I created using MCP servers, and I'll show you what everything is. Well, the first step is to just make sure that you actually have MCP client in here. Great, and so what we're gonna do is start with list available tools. And so that's what we have here. So let me remove this and I'll show you what tool we're going to be using. Now, once we get here, we want to connect it to an MCP server. So let's create a new credential. Now in the description below, I'm going to share another GitHub link that will land on this page, which are MCP servers. And so when you scroll down, you can see all of the list of servers that are available. So I think for this particular example, we're going to use Firecrawl, which is basically a web scraper. When you click on that server, you can see exactly what data you need to enter into N8N. So we're going to use this one. Going back to N8N, the first thing we need is the command, which is npx. Next are the arguments that you want. So we're going to grab this here and paste it in. Now there's a specific format that this typically wants, command line arguments, space separated. So let's remove all of these commas, add a space here. And lastly, we need the environments. So these are all the environments we're going to grab. Now going here, they also want a very specific format, which is the key value pair with an equal sign separated by commas. So I'm actually going to put this into ChatGPT to format it for me. I'm going to say from the below key value pairs, remove all quotations and replace sign. And I'm going to say combine to one string with separated commas. I'm going to say remove all spaces. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, now the last step to connect it is we're going to actually need to put our API key here. So when you go to the Firecrawl website, firecrawl.dev, there's a free trial in which you can get an API key here. So this is the one that we're going to grab and paste it into here. Now, once you paste it into there, you just click save, and now everything's set up. So now that we're connected to the Firecrawl MCP server, let's just test this workflow up here and make sure we're getting the list of tools. So we're going to test workflow. And you can see that now there's a list of tools: Firecrawl scrape, the schema, Firecrawl map, and I believe there are around 10 tools that are on this server. Awesome. So the next step is to create an MCP agent that is going to scrape websites. In our case, we wanted to scrape the IRS newsroom, and then we wanted to summarize and create newsletters for clients. So the first step is adding a chat node, right? And then you want to add an agent node. So agent, the second one right here. You want to connect it to a chat model. I'm using GPT-4 Mini, which is fine. Now, because this is a new N8N instance, you're going to also need your credentials for OpenAI here. So you'll go here, get your API key from OpenAI, and then just save it there. Now, the next thing we want to do is connect it to these tools. So you can already see here, I have a Firecrawl tool, which is just listing the tools. This is exactly what this node did up here. So how you would do that, you go to MCP, client tool, and that's the one. Now there's a different operations that we can do, but like I said, for this one, we wanted to list tools. Next one we want is to execute tool. So same thing, getting the tool, but instead of list, we're going to do execute tool, and the name of the tool is going to come from the agent, which is why we need to have this specific code. So this is just a from AI tool, and then in the end over here, you can add a description like tool that agent will call. Something like that. Doesn't matter too much. And then down here, there's tool parameters, right? Sometimes it needs the website URL or whatever the case may be, but we're going to let this model figure it out by itself. So now let's actually test this and make sure it works. I'm gonna disconnect from this node here. We'll open chat. Let me move my face. And we're going to say, give me a list of all your tools. So it's correctly hitting this tool node, list tool node. Okay, now it's spitting it back to the agent. And so this is the final list of tools that they came up with. Firecrawl scrape, there should be 10 of them. Map, awesome. So now it also gives a little bit of a description on what it does. So this description actually helps when you are instructing the AI to do something. If you say extract structured information, it'll probably know to call this Firecrawl extract tool. Okay, so now that we know that this list tools node is working, let's try and test this execute tool node. We're going to tell it to scrape the IRS newsroom and return the top results. So it's acknowledging which tool it needs to find depending on the prompt, and it's going to actually go and execute that tool. So this is the final results that came out, the top 3 results. And these are all, actually it's 5 of them. So these are all hyperlinked as well. So when you hit this, it'll bring us to the actual link of that article, which came out March 19th. So at this point, you're probably thinking, what's the point of having an MCP agent versus just creating it like this, automation, and just having a chain of automation nodes? Now, the reason we want to opt for an agent in this particular case is we want to have the agent choose for us among the list of tools which one is the best fit for our task. And this is one of the reasons why MCP is so powerful, because now you don't need to map each individual API endpoint, and you can just map it to one tool. So let's say you're an accounting firm that wants to send out these kind of updated newsletters to your existing clients. What we would do is get this AI agent response. We'll connect it to another OpenAI node. And this one we can say and prompt it to say you are a newsletter agent that sends out weekly news about IRS releases. You'll be given scrape data on the IRS newsroom. Your job is to create an engaging newsletter and send that out. And this is the prompt scrape data. And we're just dragging in this output here. We're going to simplify and put the content as JSON, which is fine. And so let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so this is the result. Stay informed, this week's IRS updates and important deadlines. Okay, hello there. So this is pretty basic, but how can this actually be useful, right? Let's say you have a CRM that's tagged with different clients and what their business pain was, right? So let's say this client needs help with M&A work. This client needs help with inheritance or whatever the case may be. As these newsletters come out, and it might be more important for certain types of leads, we get to send out very personalized messages and personalized newsletter articles to them. Now, MCP hasn't been fully adopted yet, which is why I don't want to spend too much time building out crazy workflows. Now, there are some limitations. For example, when you have too many tools, the agent is going to get confused on which tool it should actually be calling and which one it should be executing. And the reason for that is when you go into this AI agent, we're not prompting anything, right? We're just using this chat trigger node, and we're just telling the agent, go figure it out, right? Now, one more thing I want to point out about using a workflow like this is depending on which tool you want to execute, you're going to have to give it different parameters. So what does that mean? When you look at the different tools for Firecrawl, you can see that we use the most basic scrape tool. All it really needs is basically just a URL, and it'll do its thing. Now, like I said before, depending on how you prompt the agent, depending on how you chat to the agent, instead of saying scrape, you can say batch scrape. Then it'll know to use this tool instead, in which case in the chat, you probably want to give it multiple URLs. So hopefully now you know how to host an N8N server, you know how to connect to MCP tools, and you know how to actually create useful workflows. If you made it this far into the video and you're a business owner, I have a present for you. In the description below, I'm going to leave my LinkedIn. If you DM me the word audit, I will give you a free consulting package, which includes a 30-minute deep dive call on your business, seeing where AI is the most impactful. It'll also include free resources like this MCP blueprint, there's an onboarding automation blueprint, and more. This is almost $1,000 value, completely for free, no strings attached. I'm not going to sell your email. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on LinkedIn.